Oh my God, we're back. And we have Michelle. All right, we're going to restart this. Sorry about that. Thanks for your patience. Let's share the screen and let's get to getting. Okay. I'm on my mom's Wi-Fi, so I don't know what kind of service she got, but. All right, we are back. Okay, next question. Is your motivation coming from a place of self-hate or punishment? So when you feel that sense of motivation, try to notice what triggers kind of motivational thoughts or what triggers that thought of like, oh my God, I really need to get on top of my shit. Where do those thoughts originate from? Is it out of self-love, self-hate? Is it a punishment? Is it a positive thought of the future? And then whatever it is, whatever this thing is that you're feeling motivated towards, how is it going to improve the quality of your life? So rather than thinking about the actual thing, let's say it's working out, instead of I need to work out and, do leg presses and burn calories and go to the gym, right? Then you're keeping it stuck in this box. How is that thing going to improve the quality of your life outside of the gym or whatever it is you're feeling motivated towards? And then very important, what is the value that you are trying to embody? So basically, what are your values? And is the value that at the end of the day you're trying to embody is health or just movement? Maybe it's more sunshine, maybe it's to live longer, maybe the value is to have more presence. Find out what your values are, because that's usually always where your motivation is coming from, is some deep value. And values are a lot deeper than, something kind of surface level. And then, just let's narrow this down to working out, because that's a really great example. What's the barrier that you have to working out? Maybe you have really old, torn up running shoes, and you absolutely hate to put them on and they're uncomfy and there's holes in them and they're not cute. Maybe your gym clothes are too tight and they're from last year, and you're just convincing yourself that you're going to fit into them one day, but then it's uncomfortable to put on, so then you're not going to work out. Maybe it's your water bottle is too small and that's why you're not hitting your water goal for the day. Or maybe it's that you don't have time in your schedule, but you're not looking at your schedule and creating a time block, dedicating an hour to yourself each day, whether that's just a 30-minute workout and then a 30-minute, meditation session or whatever that is. So instead of trying to rely on willpower, motivation, or discipline, which are all, again, kind of like those like imaginative words that really don't hold anything for you to actually take action. And those things also essentially create resistance, because then it's like, oh, well, I don't have willpower, I don't have motivation, I don't have discipline, and these are things that I need to get to first in order to get to the next thing, and then there's this big resistance, right? So how do we remove the resistance? Equip yourself with the tools, the time, or the space that allows you to make the thing easy. So just lower the resistance. I'm going to go into some examples. But another question to ask yourself before I do is, do you oscillate kind of between the two ends of the spectrum of I am just self-love and I'm in body positive and I can, do whatever and I'm here to relax and chill and life is good and I don't need to work hard and whatever. Like I would call it the very yin, the very feminine, the almost like too relaxed, too soft, falling, relying on like self-love and whatever, all that stuff. And then the next day you wake up and you're like, oh my God, I need to do 75 hard. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I'm going to start waking up at 5 a.m. I'm going to only eat organic from here on out. And then there's no in between. I would highly recommend finding that in between. And then the last question, or maybe just thing to reflect on, is saying the words. Have you ever caught yourself saying, I just need to follow through. I just need to follow through with this. I just need to adhere to this. I need to just follow through. Keep in mind that is not a plan. That's just an intention. So I intend to follow through, but it's not an action itself. So find things that are tangible, small, flexible actions that allow you to then follow through. So then you can have that intention to follow through, but where are the actual actionable steps to follow through? See, now we're bringing it from this idea and keeping it so grand and vague, and actually bringing it into reality to be able to accomplish these things. And I really want to highlight the word flexible. Okay. we all know life happens. Okay. And I'm going to get into why that's important too. So some components of discipline. I hear this, I'm sure maybe you scroll through Instagram, maybe it's me, maybe it's somebody on TikTok or whatever, or, somebody in this group chat who is just on top of their shit all the time. And you're just like, oh, how is she or he so disciplined? Like, how are you so disciplined? I get asked that a lot. So here are a couple steps that you either learn as a kid if you were involved in any kind of sport, or maybe you were like in gifted, or you had some structure, I guess, in your way of thinking, and you built these things like discipline and motivation at a young age, whether you realize you were building and learning these things or not, or maybe you did learn it as an adult, or maybe you're realizing these are the steps that we need to start taking. So step one is having a high amount of awareness to be able to identify where your emotions are. So let's say I wake up and I'm really grumpy and I'm really stressed, and I have two options. You can be like, you can reflect and be aware of, oh, I can see that grumpiness. I can see that I'm stressed. I can feel that I'm having negative emotions and thoughts. Or you can completely disassociate and become unconscious and bury yourself into your phone, or disassociate from your body or your emotions and fall into whatever unconscious patterns that your body has already been programmed to do. So literally the first step is to just become aware. As cliche as it sounds, but truly, if you can stop yourself in those moments before you go into that normal unconscious pattern, this is where we start to make change. Step two, somebody who has high discipline also has obstacle anticipation skills. So just like I mentioned that last slide, shit happens, life happens. To be able to prepare for all of the things that can go wrong is so important. And to also have effective, realistic plans for when all of those things could go right. So if you're only setting yourself up to be successful when you get out of work right at 5, when your energy is super high, when you have all of your meals prepared, if your only plan is successful in that, I would start to make plans and thoughts around times when life maybe doesn't go that way. What are you going to do if you snooze past your alarm at 6 a.m. or whatever? Then what's kind of the backup plan? So step 3 is having enough self-compassion. And this isn't just woo-woo or, sounds cute to say. Oh my gosh. Am I back on? Are we good? Are we good-ish?
We can hear you. We can hear you now.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Let me just get through this.
It's just glitchy, Tara.
Okay. Thank you. Has it been glitchy the whole time? Damn. Okay. Alrighty. Well, step 3, having enough self-compassion to forgive yourself if you don't make it to the gym or whatever that thing is that you plan on sticking to. So I would say that's a huge difference between the people you see that are super successful in their fitness journey and the people that are not. You are either really beating yourself up and thinking you're starting from square one and completely giving up and feeling like you're a piece of shit if you don't make it to the gym or if you don't hit your macros perfectly that day. Versus somebody who has been successful probably has enough self-compassion to forgive yourself when you don't make it to the gym that day. And the stakes are much lower. Okay, the stakes are super high if it's like, damn, if I don't go to the gym right now, I'm going to hate myself. Okay, do you feel that energetic difference where it's like the stakes are a little bit lower? And we always are a lot more successful when the stakes are low and we can keep our stress low rather than feeling like a failure. So step 4, cognitive flexibility. Cognitive meaning mind. So this is the opposite of kind of that all or nothing mentality. The ability to be able to go to the gym, even if you only have 30 minutes. Let's say you're planning on a 45-minute workout, but you only have 30 minutes. So instead of that all or nothing mindset, it's like, okay, well, let me go there and walk on the treadmill for 30 minutes. Let me go there and do the first half of my workout. Finding what can fit in that. This is the worst week of my life. Okay, we're just going to keep going.
You're doing great.
Thank you. I'm really trying my damnedest here.
Tell Mama Cransel to amp up the gigabytes or whatever.
I'm sorry. We're all here with you. You got it.
Thank you. You know what? This is the perfect example of stress management. Whatever, we're here. Thanks for being compassionate. And then step 5, mind management skills, also known as meta motivation regulation, the ability to identify where your motivation is currently being directed and redirected towards the behaviors that you want. So as humans, we are always motivated. We are motivated creatures by nature, no matter what. You're either being more motivated to go to the gym or more motivated to scroll on your phone. At any given, you guys are so motivated to keep clicking on this link or staying on this Zoom call, even though it is really rough. So there's that motivation. Or you're more motivated to be like, I got dinner cooking. This girl's crazy. I gotta go. Okay, so we always have motivation, and it's pointing us in one direction. And to be able to identify where your motivation is going will then be able to help you redirect it to where you want it to go. And also identify, what are you getting from where you're being motivated towards? So again, if you're being motivated more to lay in the bed and scroll on your phone, really be real with yourself and ask yourself, what are you getting from that? And motivational regulation, again, is you can word that as motivational redirection, which is a skill that's learned. Just like if you were to learn French or learn football, it takes a coach, it takes a teacher, practice, and time. Okay, so just because if you're not the most motivated person to go to the gym right now, it takes skill, it takes practice, it takes time. So don't beat yourself up. Here's a big example of when to be able to identify where your emotion or where your motivation is being directed. You know, let's say you're on the couch eating a bag of chips and you're like, holy shit, I cannot stop fucking eating this bag of chips. Maybe you're almost having like a binging moment. You know, to be able to then say to yourself, I'm overeating this bag of chips on the couch because I'm stressed from work and I'm trying to emotionally regulate. There's that awareness. Okay. Now we're finding out where the motivation is being pointed towards. We're finding out why. And let's say you finish the bag of chips, but at least we've completed that first step of awareness. And just know that self-acceptance is not a place that you live. You're not always going to be in a place of self-acceptance, but it's a place to return to. It's a practice to keep coming back to self-acceptance. And so instead of saying, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Why can't I stop eating this? You know, I suck. Maybe I need to hire a different coach or something, or I need to go to a boot camp, or I need to sign up for Biggest Loser or whatever. Just remind yourself, I'm allowed to be a human and my brain is allowed to be a brain. And these are some things that humans and brains do, is they have these patterns, and to be aware of that will start to interrupt those patterns. And then last slide here, thank God we were making it, how to start leveraging your motivation. So we got some more steps, step 1, 2, and 3, awareness. Again, I like for that same example, I'm overeating this bag of chips because I'm stressed from work. Or think, then we feel, then there's a behavior. That's usually always the order of operations. You think something, you feel something, you have a behavior. Or sometimes it goes past the thinking stage and it's just, I feel, here's the behavior. I feel, here's the behavior. Awareness will interrupt that gap. So instead of beating yourself up, I'm a piece of shit, or this is why I'm overweight, or whatever, again, having those high stake emotions connected towards that behavior, having curiosity around the behaviors rather than deep attachment. So, that's interesting. Just taking this all as data. Why would you look at that? My brain being a brain, my humaning, and just being aware. And then step 2, that acceptance. Again, if that behavior is loaded for you, AKA you hate yourself afterwards, it has high stakes, you go to spirals, the urges, the desires, and the negative thoughts will probably always be there. Maybe they, come in waves a little bit more often than others. But just do not try to cling on to those thoughts. Don't take them too seriously. Don't identify with these thoughts or these behaviors. Don't take it too seriously. And then that's where we can find that place of acceptance. And we can really only move forward if we find that acceptance. And only speak about things in terms of data. No adjectives or descriptive words. So instead of coming to me on your check-in and being like, I ate so much popcorn last night, just say, I ate popcorn last night. The data is neutral. And if we have neutrality around the data, we can always make improvements then. And then step 3, adjustment, making actionable and realistic plans, making the new action easy for you. So this is a good example that came from that podcast that I linked, and I'll send again if you want to listen. But the woman on the podcast was saying that the biggest thing stopping her from going to the gym in the morning is that she just loves being in her sweatpants. Like, she wakes up in the morning, the last thing she wants to do is take off these sweatpants and put on a tight pair of leggings. Like, that right there was the biggest thing stopping her. And I totally relate to that. Changing out of my comfy clothes to put on something tight or spandex or whatever. It sounds like hell majority of the time, but especially first thing in the morning. So what she did instead was she brought her leggings with her and she changed into them as she was in the locker room at the gym, so that she didn't have to take off her sweatpants. She didn't have to do the thing that was stopping her. Instead, she got to the gym, and then when she was in the locker room, then she changed, okay? So finding, again, what that limitation is or what that block is, and setting that actionable step to remove the block, getting rid of the emotional ties to it, and then boom, now instead of motivation or discipline being this grand thing, now we're bringing it into realistic steps. We made it. Did anybody at least understand what I was saying? Was I glitching the whole time?
I would say we heard like 90% of it, which is good.
Okay, good.
I'll take it.
Good. Well, thanks. Thanks for showing up. I will send the podcast, which will not glitch.
Crushed it.
Thank you. Thanks, Sheena. Yeah, that was rough, but thank you guys so much. It was a really important topic, so I'll send you the slides if you need it. Thank you, Taylor. And listen to the podcast. She explains it better. Love you guys. What a great call. And I'll see you next week. Same time, same place.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.